You have? I'm not sure whether that's good or not. Go 80 to almost any direction. I like to keep track of what's going on. Sandy never knew what was going on. So they sent.
I need everybody to. I need everybody to keep their microphones on because now we're streaming and stuff. Just make sure. Okay.
Yes, we've got ribbon cutting thing.
Since it just found out back. I knew they were planning on doing it.
I didn't even know they were planning on doing it.
Look at it, you're gonna go in the water, it's not a dog. So the tack on the screw, it's an off. Screw, so we'll go after the water goes down. Shim it, I'll do something, shut it down, so it's not. Turn your microphones on. Put them on. It's not picking up. It will, but turn the microphones.
Don't turn them on, they can't work.
Yeah, that way.
Turn some on.
That way, yeah. They'll pick them up.
If it wasn't for you, that didn't have that. What's their name?
Joanne Cage?
She wasn't that great. Y'all are kids when you're religious. You know, you're right. No way.
Yeah, and that should be on that list.
The first thing on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. It's the second reading of ordinance number 17-912-1,
amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Kingston, Tennessee by defining and regulating electronic message board sign. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on that tonight? Okay, we'll leave this public hearing open for 5 minutes.
I would like to speak on that.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
work at Kingston Elementary, and we have an electronic sign. And I noticed in the paper that you were wanting it to be for 20 seconds. We never leave our sign for 20 seconds. We use the time and the date and the temperature for about 2 seconds. And the most we've ever done is 10. I think if we use it for 20 seconds, people's going to really slow down sometimes to see it because their children's names will be on there. And I don't know that that's really a safety thing.
Well, just 1 second, because I don't believe that we can regulate the sign here in the school.
Oh, you can?
No, not here.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this? All right, give it a couple more minutes. Thank you for coming up. Okay, good time.
More interesting.
ask one more time, is there anyone here that wishes to speak on the public hearing for defining and regulating electronic message board signs in the city of Kingston? All right, seeing none, we'll go into the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston City Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please stand, as I'll have Mr. Brown do the invocation, and Mr. Childs will lead us in the pledge, please.
Pray with me, please. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you once again with grateful hearts. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and meet as a council to do business in the city of Kingston. Be with everyone who's here tonight, give them safe journeys home. And we thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for the good rain we had yesterday. Most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus Christ, who died for us on the cross. We give you praise for everything in our lives. We said amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Present.
Vice Mayor Childs,
Present.
Councilmember Humphries, Councilmember Stockton,
Present.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember Wright. Mayor Neal.
Present. Next on the agenda is approval of previous minutes. Do I hear a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
Councilmember Brown,
Mr. Childs made the motion. Second by Mr. White. Mr. Childs, do you have any corrections or deletions? No, sir. Mr. White? No. Madam Clerk, you may now call.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
Six ayes.
Okay, that's approved. Next on the list is citizens' comments. If there's anyone that wishes to appear before the city council, please come up to the podium and state your name. And if, yes, sir, come right up.
My name is Charlie Bowles. I've been a resident of Kingston for 38 years. 38 years I've been fighting a water problem. All of Bonneview is curbed. The city, road, street department, they done a very good job of curbing everything up on Bonneview, directed it right down Glen Street, right toward my house. I've fought the city for 38 years trying to keep water off my property. I put $5,000 worth of concrete in this last year trying to keep it off my property. He's out there right now, digging up a ditch on the other side of me, putting in four cases at bases. And he's going to close one up above where most of the water's coming down needs to be caught. He came out there today and stopped up a tile, 12-inch tile on the other side, and put gravel down. First catch basin's down about 50 feet from there. One got down Bonneview, and it's all Bonneview. There's two curves down. One of them's about 50 feet from my house, the other 75 feet from my house. And he curved the curving real recently. My two new neighbors came in, they changed their driveways. There's only 2 ditches in the whole of Bonneview right now. They border both me. They go cover one of them in. So he's done a good job of keeping all the water in the street. But I would like for somebody to come out there and look at my problem, show you what they've done. 2 neighbors of mine changed their driveways. The other ditch came down through there, they covered them up. My neighbor, they made about 2 12-foot tiles to put under his driveway. Well, on the other side, there's that much space open out of a major distance used to be down through there. Now, the guy above them don't have any tiles on his land. But Brandon, my friend, he had to go out and buy 2 tiles, so he made him put one in his driveway. But on the end of the side, towards Bonneview, it's only that much space. The rest of it is filled in, level with the road. That's one thing wrong. Next thing is he put a curb in my house several years ago. And a couple years ago, the tree fell, the city backhoe up there to pick up the trash and brush and stuff. Well, they broke the tile they put on down to protect me, which was just put in right start with. It didn't go all the way out to the road, so I'm getting a lot of water there. but they broke this, the pavement on the wet road as well, and every time it rains, the water gets put underneath the road coming down from Bonneville, it washes across my property. He's been out there to see it. He says he's gonna fix it, when? Also too, I see Johnson grass seed 5 times this summer on this part of my road, but they won't mow it. In the winter time, I've got to call down there 2:30 of the time, getting Glen Street, because they can get it. He thinks it's funny. He's been out there. I like somebody, I like you guys about there, I'll show you exactly what I mean. I've asked to test it even, but Bonneville, and that's watered down. Show them exactly what. It's Sunday night, matter of fact, they had closed the street. The rock they put in there, 4 or 5 inches, went out on the street, had to close it. Both men got it on his camera, I got it on camera. They had to close the road, because so much gravel came out of that ditch, across the road. My neighbor too, down from me, got cat blocks in this, on the side of his street, trying to keep the water off him.
Mr. Bowles, it sounds like that you said that they are working on some things out there. Mr.
Not
Bowles.
on my side of the road, you know.
Because it's not on your side of the road, doesn't mean it's not gonna help your side of the road.
What?
Just because it's not on your side of the road, doesn't mean it's gonna help your side.
I'll show you where it won't. I was there trying to water, look, I guarantee you, I'll show you. I've been there 38 years. Water comes down and, it comes right directly at me. They expect water to go down that 90-degree turn and go in those catch basins. It comes down, spread down across the road. For me down, they do them down. They've got, center blocks up trying to keep water off things.
Mr. Bowling, can you give us a bit on what Tim is planning on doing out there?
Yeah, he's got the work that's underway now, and when he's done with that, he does have plans to go on Mr. Bowles' side of the road, put a curb in, and also patch that section of pavement. So, as I explained to Mr. Bowles, what he's doing is not done. It's one part of the process, but he does have plans to curb it and fix the problem. It's just, we just gotta give him a chance to let it work. So.
It would have been done had he not had to redo the gravel. He had to get the several ton gravel back into the ditch. And how much of that gravel is in those tile mounds?
Mr. Bowles, I understand, we had like 4.5 inches of rain Sunday, I mean, that's.
Another thing too, next to Bowles, he said that he didn't have enough money to fix that road right there where the asphalt's come out. Water's actually down up the road right there, where the backhoe broke it up. And, they won't fix that either. He said, the second in man, that they didn't have any money to buy asphalt. I would like to know how much budget the street department gets and what's spent on. That's my right, is that not?
He's planning on patching that.
Right, I mean, I think Mr. Clark has it in the works to fix all that, patch it up, curb and everything. It's not something that can happen overnight, I mean, he is working on it.
I waited 38 years to get that fixed. I'm not waiting long. I got a lot of pictures. And I'd like you to come out and look at it, I show exactly what I mean. Any fool can see what's going on. I worked, I was in the Navy. I worked for 28 years at TVA. I was shift supervisor. I was in charge of a lot of water systems. I know water. And I was in charge of pollution control. How to keep the water from polluting the environment. I was in charge of power plant, shift supervisor. I know water. Then from there, I retired and I went to work for White's Well. White's Well got some very unique systems that concerns water, contamination and stuff. There again, I know how to run water works, and I know how it does. But he thinks it's funny. I won't try to show either one of you, and I wish we'd come out there and I'll show exactly what I mean.
Mr. Bowles, I don't think Mr. Bowling thinks anything's funny when we have a citizen.
Oh, he was laughing a while ago.
No, he's looking at me,
Laughing at him.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, he's gonna fix it. I've got a lot of pictures.
He's
Bad
working
for
on that.
pictures, I'll sue the city if I have to, I'm tired of it, I want it fixed.
Thank
I
you,
want
Mr.
the tower fixed, the curb that they broke, all the way up to the end, all the way across the valley down, and I was also too, part of the concrete guy, before he threatened to dig it up, because he didn't know where the end of the tile went. They put the tile end down through there. My concrete got tile under, I guarantee him that, and I don't dig it up and show him. But he won't know where the end of it goes, he did that.
Mr. Bowles, thank you. Mr. Clark and Mr. Bowling are looking into the situation.
So when is the schedule? Well, I when, it's been 3 weeks ago, well, when's the schedule? Any idea? Then, I got my dentist last Sunday night.
We had a lot of rain all over town Sunday.
What?
We had a lot of rain all over town Sunday night. They were out there quick.
You had to go to the
cleaned
city
up.
street, go to the Rockwell Road, like, it's already done. If it rains again, we'll do the same thing again.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles.
I swear on record, I came down here and asked you. And I want you to come out there and I'll show you exactly what's going on.
You have your record. Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council tonight? Seeing no one else? We'll look into reports. We'll start with the council reports. Ms. Stockton, do you have anything tonight?
I do. I have a few things. First, on the beautification committee, we have a citywide volunteer litter pickup on November the 4th at 10 a.m. to noon. So if anyone wants to volunteer, we are looking for as many that would like to help. We also have a lighting of our Christmas tree that'll be at Park Beautification Park, Park and Rec. That'll be at the recreation right out front of the community center on November the 25th from 5 to 7. I think we kept adding to this. We also have an elf run for the kids, and that I'm sure is going to be a lot of fun. We'll do hot chocolate shortly after. We'll do a lighting of the tree and then also carolers afterwards. So I think that'll be a great event. Following that, on the 27th of November, we'll have the Christmas parade. And then also we wanted to mention the flag football starts this Sunday. That's something new that we offered to the city. And then lastly, well, actually two things. I guess you'll see the new signage around the trails that was with the United Way. That's learning, Born to Learn trail signage that you'll notice that's been put up. And then the sports in Kingston was awarded a Gold Star with the health department. It was only 1 and 2 in the state that's awarded. So, I think so.
Sounds like it. Mr. Childs?
I don't think I have, I try to go out one day a month to all the departments, whatever, and every time I go out to each one of the departments, there's always out working. You've got a really good bunch of people. I really appreciate that. We have the Street Fest coming up October 28th. We've had a lot of people talking about it. We'll have the food vendors, things for the kids, car show at the courthouse. Thought that would turn out. Contest start maybe later. The vendors will come down before we set up whatever.
The 9.
Anything else? Mr. Brown?
Just a quick congratulations to the Kingston football team. Broke into the top 10 and ranked number 9 this week. Beat out Colton. Who's ranked number 1?
Mr. Platt?
I'd like to comment on the Jim Henry deal. That was a big thing, it went real well. I appreciate everybody that joined in on that, band, school band, people that helped, golf carts that were supplied, I think maybe county supplied those, or some, I don't know where they come from. They were handy getting people up and down the hill. I thought it was a great thing to do for him. He's well deserved.
Anything else, Mr. Black?
No, I don't want to get into that.
Ms. Summers, you anything?
No.
A couple things I've got is that we are reappointing Bo Pickle back to the planning commission. Bo is serving on the planning commission. I think his term expires this month. And also, I got a letter in the mail from Ron Woody, the county executive, about the ribbon cutting they're going to have with the Emory Clinch and Once Upon a Watershed Habitat and Restoration Grant Program that we've been working on for the last 9 months. Talking about the ADA accessible handicap new launch ramp we got down between the bridges. I'll get this to Joyce. It's going to be on October the 20th, and they'll be at 10 o'clock. We'll be down at the kayak, the canoe launch. Reading his letter and stuff, they're going to take boats and ride up and look at the things they've done on Little Emery and a couple other places. So I'll get this out to Joyce where she can send it out to everybody. And that's all I've got. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Bowling for his report.
Good deal, thank you, Mayor. So a couple things, some of them have been mentioned here, but in regard to Street Fest, we did have an
interdepartmental meeting this morning, working on some planning for that. Everything's moving along really well. As Councilman Child said, this is going to be on the 28th, starting at 11 o'clock at the old courthouse. The plan is for it to go to 9 o'clock that night. If it makes it that long, great. We will have vendors. We're almost full in our vendor spaces. We've got multiple music acts, car show, kids activities, food trucks. Really going to be just a great day for an old-fashioned street festival. Hope everybody comes out. Going to be a family-friendly, pet-friendly event. And anybody has any questions or wants to sign up for anything, they can contact the community center. But we're really looking forward to that, and certainly want to thank Councilman Childs for all of his hard work on helping us get that going. So looking forward to that. Another event we're excited about is the upcoming haunted house, and I mentioned it before. The fire department's putting on. It's going to be at Bird Field. It'll be on the 26th, 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st. 7 to 11. They put a lot of time and effort into this, really trying to make it a great event. So hope everybody will come out and support the fire department in what should be a really fun event. So looking forward to that as well. You saw in my email, I would assume late last week, that we finally received our final approval from TDEC on Porter Park. After a long, very frustrating process, I'm happy to report we're now going to be able to enter into the final closeout on that. So that is definitely something we've been waiting on. That'll take a bit to go through that, but fortunately it'll put it behind us, and it's also going to open it up for us to look at future LPRF funding, and we'll be closed out in time to do that should we want to do it. As we talked about, we will be planning celebration and dedication sometime in the spring, so we'll have more coming up on that in the months to come. But we did get approval, and we're finally going to be able to start closing that thing out. You also might have seen an email. The .gov email addresses are now active. I forwarded the login and setup information to all the departments and you guys, and we'll be at least the employee-wise, we'll be exclusively using those no later than November 1st. Along those lines, probably more exciting is our website. We're scheduled to go live on Friday. We planned on having this done a lot sooner, but some of the things have just taken a lot longer to do than we thought. One example, transferring the old minutes and things like that from the old website to the new one is a lot more complicated process than I would have imagined. But working through that, I should have a confirmation to send out to you later in the week, but our plan is to roll that out on Friday. So really looking forward to that. Finally, I want to call up Chief Washam, and he's got some guests here. Want to bring up for just a minute, if you will, Mayor. Let us congratulate one of our own on a very, very cool accomplishment. So, bring your crowd up with you. Come on.
She's shy, she don't want to.
I understand. I'll turn it over to Chief and let him fill you in a little bit.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the council and the city manager for allowing us to train and to do the things we need to support our community. Director Gwynn of the TBI was appointed in 2004, and I was privileged to work with him on the methamphetamine task force then. Got to meet him and talk to him a lot during that. Then in 2005, got to work with him down at the courthouse, unfortunately, when we had to shoot him. And throughout his career, what Director Gwynn wanted to do was to get the state and the local agencies working on the same page. So that if we have a case that we have to go out and close off the scene, my detectives can come in, do what needs to be done. We get to a certain point, if we have to turn it over to TBI, then that scene is laid out exactly like the TBI would want it. And in 2009, Director Gwynn was able to get his first class together. And this is class number 6 that Keith went through. It was 6 weeks of class. It was a TBI Academy, and it was mirrored after the FBI Federal Academy. And Keith was able to do really well down there. In this time, he's also completed his master's degree.
So he's had a lot of study, a lot of hands-on work. This time I'll let Keith tell you more about the school and the honors that we received.
Thank you, Chief, City Council, thank y'all. First of all, I couldn't say I couldn't find a better department to work for. This is a plaque that they presented to all those that graduated, just this last week. It took me 2 years to get into this school. I applied and, got turned down, and we got to talk with, Director Gwynn, and, he said all the applicants that come through go to his desk, and he approves who gets to come. In the training, we met some very, very intelligent people. One was, Judge, Gonzalez, who was a chief advisor to George W. Bush at the World Trade Center, gave us advice, about how the judicial system works, the federal system. Also, we had hands-on training, as far as ammunitions. We worked some extensive crime scene, that actual TBI worked, how to process it, how to attack it, so to say, process it, diagram, drawing things, and put it all together. And the assistant director, Richard Moore, was there along with some of the other deputy directors watching us as we worked the crime scenes. Photography, we spent almost a week in photography. I learned a lot about cameras and what all a camera could actually do, and it was just amazing. One of the other great things that I've always wanted to do that TBI actually afforded to us was go to the body farm and actually see those bodies as they lay them out, decompose, and we even had the opportunity to draw out on scale of a person whose body had been donated that had been there for a year and a half. We drew out the body, we measured the head, the skulls, the feet, the arms, the legs, and then we collected those bones, and we were allowed to have our names put on the box that goes in the William H. Bass, I guess depository, what you call it, with our academy on there. And also, and all this was free. TBI paid for everything. We stayed at Belleville for 5 weeks, or 6 weeks. Those rooms were $60 a night plus the food that they furnished. And all I had to do was have the time to go, which my chief, I'm very thankful for, and y'all behind us as well. And I've gained a lot of knowledge. Some of the perks that we walked away there with was, you know, we're alumni with TBI now. So if we get called, and God forbid it never happens again, and here in Kingston, if there's a homicide, I can stand side by side TBI and help them work the scene and process it, which is a great valuable tool. But there was Tennessee State University supplied each one of us, 12 officers, an iPad, a little keyboard. We received from Cumberland University a $1,000 camera with attachments with it, and then TBI also gave us a $600 crime scene kit that the same agents used, and all that was given to us. And Mr. Gwynn said he loves these classes to be small, 12 people, so you can get more out of it, and I have to agree with him. I really absorbed a lot of information, and even training that we could even get for our officers as well. So I thank you, Chief Washington, Mayor, City Councilman. Appreciate y'all that I've been away for 6 weeks and I've got a little bit behind. Of course, I also got to thank my class, because there was an unfortunate incident that I'm here to tell. My second weekend, apparently my heart decided to have a heart attack on Thursday, and I got put in the hospital, but I only missed 1 day of class. So if I hadn't been up there, I'm stubborn to go, I probably would have died at home. But you know, 90% blockage, they got it fixed, and I was back in class. But I thank y'all for standing behind Chief Washington, myself, and try to make Kingston a better place to live. Like I said, this is a plaque, very beautiful plaque that they gave each and every one of us, our class pictures with names on it. And I tell you, it was awesome. It was awesome class, it really was. So thank y'all, from the bottom of my heart. And also Chief Horseman again. And of course, my wife and daughter, they were 6 weeks without me. But I really appreciate them, so.
Tell them you're welcome for the vacation.
Yeah. Well, they appreciate the time away.
Well, from myself, and I'll let anyone else that wants to add, thank you very much for, taking 6 weeks out of your life to go do something of this nature, to come back and to help the city with it. We appreciate it. It's all right. I'll give you a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Collins.
Thank you.
Anything else you have, Mr. Bowman?
That's all I have, Gary. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll go on to number 7. Number 7 is addition of items to the meeting agenda. I've not received any of those. So we'll go into number 8, unfinished business. Second reading of ordinance number 179-12-1, amending the zoning ordinance in the city of Kingston, Tennessee, by defining and regulating electronic message signboards. Do we hear a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. White, second by Ms. Stockton. Mr. White,
It's not that,
just Stockton. Does anyone on council have anything? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
yes.
Councilmember Humphries. Yes. Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Daniel.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Ordinance passes. B is second reading of ordinance number 179-12-2, adopting and enacting a comprehensive codification and revision of the personnel rules and regulations of the city of Kingston. Do you hear a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. White. Second. Second, Mr. Childs. Mr. White?
It's a big improvement.
Mr. Childs? Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll on that ordinance, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Daniel.
Aye.
6.
That ordinance passes. Number C, it goes along with this ordinance, is a second reading of ordinance 179-12-1, repeal an ordinance establishing a personnel advisory board and abolish the existing personnel advisory board in the city of Kingston. Do you hear a motion for this ordinance? That should be 179-12-3. Do you hear a motion on the second reading?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Childs. Do you hear a second? Second by Ms. Humphries. Any discussion, Mr. Childs? Ms. Humphries? Council? Mr. Brown?
I think it'd be appropriate, since this is a standing committee, an existing committee with one member short, that a letter be drafted thanking them for their participation and their long-serving company manager and the council or the mayor. That'd be appropriate for those people. Tell them not using them anymore, but we thank them anyway.
Madam Clerk, you please call the roll on that ordinance.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries.
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Daniel.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Now, number 9 into new business. The first one is to approve an application for a courtroom security grant. Mr. Bone, would you like to speak on this before we go any further?
Yes, Mayor, this is the grant we discussed in the workshop, submitted. Chief and I met with the judge, the city judge last week. It was a grant we learned about kind of last minute, so we've had to hurry with this. It was originally just designed for county courts and apparently they had some extra money, so they opened it up to municipal courts as well. The judge would like to apply. Obviously, this goes along hand in hand with the next item on the agenda, but the goal of the grant is to purchase security equipment, and we've submitted that we'd like to apply for some cameras and some metal detecting equipment to help enhance courthouse or courtroom and overall building security. There is a match to this grant. I believe it's a 90-10 grant. The total amount of the grant's just $8,300, so certainly technically nothing that needs council approval, but I always like to bring any grant to you guys that has a match requirement for your approval. So the judge is in support of this, and we certainly are as well.
Do I hear a motion that we approve this grant application? Which one? Do it on second. All right, motion by Ms. Stockton, second by Mr. Childs. Ms. Stockton? Mr. Childs? Council? Okay. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll on application for courtroom security grants?
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries?
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
6-6.
That application to send it on, I think it has to be submitted no later than the 16th. Item B is approve moving the city court to the city council chambers on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Is there a motion to move the city court up here in this building?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Childs, second by Mr. White. Mr. Childs?
Well, in the past, it's always followed the council, even when it was at the fire hall or the community center. So, it's like right thing to do.
Mr. White?
You know, a lot of people was coming up here when we were having our work session at Courtland, and we'd have to send them back down there, and it'd be late getting back down there to the court here. So, moving it here would probably be a lot more security, be better for our policemen to be here. The cameras would be better. I just think it's a good move. That way everything's handled here in the city hall.
Council, any comments? Ms. Brown?
Is this gonna be contingent upon the grant? What happens if we don't get the grant for the security reasons? I'm just asking a question since we don't know for sure if we're gonna get this grant.
Well, I think that's certainly a benefit. I think the desire to relocate the court is still there. I think the benefits of more security and better logistics are there as well. So I would say that the request would stand either way. It's just hopefully we'll get the grant. That would be a win-win for City Hall and for the court.
So the plan would be to put if we get the standalone metal detector, it goes in the foyer.
Yeah, it could go move it around. I mean, it's as far as that goes.
We would have somebody there all the time to take care of it. I just, after we talked about this other day, I was just wondering whether it's going downstairs or upstairs, how you control the bathrooms, how you control everything else. I just didn't want it to, you know, today's days and times, you never know what's gonna happen. It sounds great, but, you know, if it moves around and everything, I would hate to have everybody that came to pay their water bill, have it set up downstairs, was what hit my mind first. And then I wondered, well, you know, if we set it right outside, or we set it somewhere where it, and whether or not you're gonna plan on using it for council meetings or other meetings since it's there, so it keeps me from coming through the side door. When I'm late.
To lock that.
Yeah,
stuff.
you'll have to lock that. That's all I have, thank you.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll on moving the council chambers to the city hall.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries? Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
6-6.
Item C is a reappointment of Linda Johnson to the Board of Zoning Appeals, term beginning November 1st, 2017, and ending October 31st, 2022. Your motion to appoint Ms. Johnson back to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
So moved.
Motion with Mr. White. Second, Mr. Childs. Mr. White, any comments?
Being good.
Mr. Childs? Council have anything? Madam Clerk, call the roll of reappointment of Ms. Linda Johnson.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
And the last thing on the agenda is a continuation of hearing on 115 Schubert Street. Mr. Attorney, I'll turn it over to you to see what.
Mayor, I suggest that, consistent with what you've done in the past, that you all, rather than adjourn this meeting, that you recess that, have your own meetings, and then have your continuation.
Okay. So, you need a motion to recess.
Need a motion to recess, yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Get a motion from Mr. White to recess, and second from Mr. Childs to recess the meeting. It should not be up for debate, I do not think. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll on the recession of the council meeting at this time?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries, Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Aye. The regular scheduled meeting of the city council stand at recess. We'll go into the Pier Board meeting. So we'll call the Kingston Pier Board to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the Pier Board?
Member Brown,
Present.
Mayor Childs,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Humphries, here. Member Stockton, present. Member White,
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Present. So, looks like the only item on the agenda is the previous minutes. Do I hear a motion to pass the previous minutes and written?
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Stockton. Second. Second by Mr. Childs. Ms. Stockton, any questions or concerns? Mr. Childs? No, sir. Council? Seeing none on the minutes, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll of the minutes?
Yes, Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member White,
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Aye. With no other business on the Pier Board, I count that meeting is adjourned. Now we'll go into the regular meeting of the Kingston Water Board. Madam Clerk, if you're ready, you can call the roll for the water.
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Humphries,
Here.
Member Stockton,
Present.
Member White,
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Present. Now can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting as written?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Humphries.
Second.
Second by Ms. Stockton. Ms. Humphries, do you have any deletions or corrections? Ms. Stockton?
No.
Council? Water. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for the water?
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member White,
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Aye. So minutes passed. So the next thing on the agenda is the citizens' comments. Does anyone have any citizens' comments for the water board tonight? Yes, sir, you come up. Just read it.
You guys do it. I live at 139 Lakeside Drive. Had a water issue, had a leak, as well as had to replace a pool liner. As a result of that, I was told to call Surge Line Leak Protection Program. I spoke with these folks,
Sir,
and
can you tell us your name?
Floyd Bosler, Bassler. As a result of talking with these guys, they said that the insurance only covers from the meter to the house. And so I called the water department, and they said that, previously they would just deduct the sewer portion of the water leak. But now they said, since we have the serve line protection program, in order to have any adjustments made to the water bill, I have to present this to you guys. So I don't mind paying the water portion. I'm not living in the house, I live out of town now. And so if it's a significant amount this month, it's going to be more significant next month. It's probably going to be about 30,000 gallons of water. So what I'm asking for is if you guys can help me on the sewer portion of the water bill, that'd be greatly appreciated. I have all the information so far as speaking with Hanover Insurance, the claim number. I've spoken with the folks downstairs about this. So that's where I am. And I don't know if you guys can consider this or not. I mean, I live in Cleveland, Tennessee now, so I'm about a 3-hour drive, an hour and a half both ways. If a citizen goes through all the policies and procedures, and I've got a claim number, they're communicating with the insurance company, if somebody can make something, happen at the local level downstairs, it would be much better for the consumer, for the water department, versus having to come, to the water board meeting, if that's at all possible. Some folks may not like to come present their issues here, so, I mean, it'd be more convenient, once all those steps have been taken, effect, and the documentation and policy procedures have all been followed, because it'll make everybody's life a little easier. So that's just extra comments.
City Manager, yes,
Thank you, Mayor. I just, and I apologize, I'm not specifically, aware of this situation, but I was just curious, what did you get back from, and Michelle, you may know this as well, but from Surfline in terms of why aren't they covered? It seems to me, just from what I'm hearing you saying, that should be something that should be covered completely.
They told me that since it was a pool, and even though I had plumbing issues at the swimming pool, waterways, as well as when you replace the line there in it, that pools are excluded from this program, pools and spas. And the guy also told me that the only coverage that is allowed with this serve line protection program that you guys invested in only covers from the meter to the house. And this is something I didn't even know I signed up for. This was on my credit bill. So it's an insurance policy that I didn't sign up for. I'm paying $4.95 a month for it. It essentially does nothing for me in this respect. So, but I mean, it's $6 a month, and then plus it's not even covering what it's supposed to cover because of the exclusions that it has.
For a refill of pool, if you had a problem, we had done that in the past.
We do have the option of doing pool adjustments. I'll tell you what, if you can, and I guess you've got his name and stuff, so you can give me some information on that. If you would, leave Michelle, you got to say it out loud, if you leave her your phone number, I'd be happy to take a look at this in the morning and get back in touch with you.
Now, next month, like I said, it'll be significantly more next month, but I will not be available. Do I have to do this monthly, come speak with you guys? Because my son's graduating from boot camp in Illinois from the Navy, so I will most likely be available next month, so I don't know how this works.
hopefully, you won't have to come back in month after month to get fixed.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that should be taken care of.
I'll be happy to take a look at it, and I'll call the insurance company as well, then I'll reach out to you and,
Yeah, I give you the claim number.
yeah, if you'll just give that all to Michelle, then we'll, be happy to look into it and see if we can figure out for you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wish to address the water board tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go into the utility director's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just a couple items here in addition to what you have in my written report. As you know, we've been advertising for some time now for a water plant operator position. Chuck and I will begin the process of interviewing applicants for that. We're going to have many applications and resumes received. We've narrowed it down to a list of 5 applicants who we feel have the potential to be good hires. We're going to be meeting with them consecutively on Thursday morning. For a first, somewhat general round of interviewing, from that, our plan is to narrow it down to 2 or 3, call them back in for a second, more job-specific round of interviews, and hopefully from that, be able to, we hope, hire a good qualified employee. So, beginning that process, like I said, we've had literally 100 plus applications from all over the world, and some of them very interesting. But we do feel like we have 5 solid candidates, and we'll be bringing more information about that as that process continues. I may have told you a couple months ago that we were conducting lead and copper sampling at various points across the system. I'm happy to report, I talked to Chuck this afternoon, we had 0 violations and are well within the 90th percentile of state utilities. It's a very important water safety issue. This shows that our flushing, our lab work are right where they need to be, and certainly hats off to the water plant for that. I believe Michelle's going to be sending out some notifications on that. So very good information, and exactly the kind of results we were hoping for. Finally, we've been working for some time to get our complete water system on SCADA. Today, the landing tank and that pump station both went online. This technology is going to make monitoring, controlling the system much easier, much more efficient. And it's just another example of the water department constantly working to raise the bar. So just wanted to give a hats off to them for all their work on it. We still have a little more to go, but you can see as you go in the plant, or even from a computer remotely, you can pretty much see and control our entire system. So that's a real benefit to us, and something we're excited about. And that's all I have, Mayor. If you have any questions.
Mr. Doctor, do you have any questions? No. Mr. Johnson? Ms. Brown? Mr. White? Mr. Simons? No more questions. That being the end of the agenda, the water board is now adjourned. We will take 5 minutes before we reconvene the city council meeting. Let's take 5 minutes and then we'll reconvene the city council meeting.
Hey, that sounds great. I don't get to the community center to get their booze and stuff like that. We're gonna pull food trucks down. The bunch of young things, the kids, slow up traffic. I think you've got all that on fire. Yeah, last Saturday, October. So I'll come out and see you for a day. If I'll be afternoon, but I don't work at 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't have anything on my bother. Thank you.
No, it's December 7th, I don't know.
Okay, so what's that? Is that? Okay, where's somebody's shoulders? Okay. Okay.
Appreciate you.
I'm gonna get it.
Great Lakes, Illinois.
There.
I was up there and,
Get a chance to tell us what you want to
I went, did my boot camp down in Orlando.
All they were doing was getting everything else done so they can concentrate on their situation.
Ready? All right, I'll call the Kingston City Council back into session. So now, Mr. Attorney, we'll go back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, is continuation of hearing on 115 Schubert Street.
Mayor, as you recall, there is a specific code section, city code section that is involved in this piece of property. It is the substandard buildings and demolition and repair code. It's section 13401. And what that says is that when the city determines that there is a piece of property that is in need of either repair or demolition, that the owner of the property is to be contacted, to be given notice, and if repairs are not made, then the city council sits as a hearing board, and that hearing board would issue what we call a show cause notice, why the city should not take further actions. You all have now had 2 sittings as the hearing board to hear. First of all, you heard the city officials talk about the fact that this house was damaged many years ago, 5 years ago, I think. And you heard all that testimony that there was significant damage. You heard the city officers talk about the fact that to them it looked like that the damage was at least 50% of the house itself and would be difficult for any kind of restructuring. You heard from the owner that he wanted to do something about that, and you adjourned that meeting to give him an opportunity to do something. Essentially, you gave him until this meeting so that he could decide what he wanted to do and what he was going to be doing and to do some things. And now you are in the spot of sitting once again as the hearing board, and your duty is to hear what he has got to say, and then once you have done that, you all will be required to make a finding and to issue whatever you all decide is appropriate as the next step. And he will then, if you make that finding, and I would suggest to you that you hear anything that he's got to say, you all will have to have that finding reduced to writing. That's something the city manager and I will try to come up with once you have told us what you want in the way of a finding. That will probably mean that you all will suggest that the finding is made final at next month, because you've got to have a meeting again, because you're not going to have a special call meeting, and that then within 10 days of that finding, then the owner will be required to take action, or the city will take action. So this hearing, I think it is appropriate for you to hear from him in the show cause why you should not take any further action or should not. So I think that's where you are right now.
Sir, would you like to come up?
I
would also like to present some photos of the property for those who haven't seen it. A couple of them are of what it looked like before I started on it and what it looks like today. I do have some letters on here to show points on the property because it's at a corner lot, just to help you correlate where one point of the property is with the other photos. Since I started working on it, I have cleared up a lot of brush that was around it, and it's come to about 8 loads of brush stacked about this high that I've cut down, cleared up, and gone hauled away. The building is over 50% if you're counting things like the inside panels and the windows. My plan originally was to replace those anyways. The structure itself, just the outer walls and studs, was determined to be in good enough shape to be able to rebuild the house. For the section where the fire was, I have gotten the paperwork to replace that section with a set of French doors, but since I've gotten that, I haven't been able to find any external or outer wall French doors to be able to put in. But as the pictures show, I've wrapped the house up, trying to clean up the appearance. I've got a couple of parts I've still got to wrap that I wasn't able to finish before it started raining. But hopefully I'll show that my full intent is to repair this and make it to a livable home.
Have we as a city sent anyone out there recently to check out the progress that has been made?
You address that to the city manager. Chief?
I know the chief has been out several times to, I'll let him speak to that.
The growth has been cleared up around the dwelling. All the entrances have been closed off, plywood, so we can come in and go out. But as far as anything else, that's all I can see. I can't get inside and see if there's been any work done on the inside. As far as the outside, all that's been done like that.
What are your plans for the house?
Well, my long-term plans are to fix it up so I can live there. I understand there's a process to every step of trying to do this. Currently, I've got the paper to replace the burnt section with French doors. Once I get that done, I'll then go through and clear all the debris out of it. I'm sure I'll have at that point have to have the structure re-inspected. And once that's done, I'll have to go through the process of getting the paperwork filed for the repairs, which will have to include the installation ratings, the changes I'll be doing to it, the window and door ratings, and basically everything needed for a new house. The only thing I won't be doing is building the front.
Yes. Do you have a building permit?
I've got a permit to install the door section. Where the burnt section was, I'm going to put French doors in.
But I'm talking about a building permit that tells how much you're going to spend on it. Chief, do you know? Or
No.
either a demolition permit. We issue both of those.
Not yet. The
Then
permit
how
I
can you
got,
be working on it without a building permit?
when I went and told them what I was going to do, they said that normally would be a permit like installing a window, and they didn't have anything specific for putting the doors where a burnt section was.
But
I've never done anything like this before, so I'm just going from what they tell me.
my concern with this, as I spoke last Tuesday, I went last Tuesday when we knew this was coming up. I couldn't tell that a whole lot had been done. I went by again today and noticed that the debris had been cut, looked like it'd been bush hogged maybe, or weed eated, and part of the house had been wrapped. Gutters have still got stuff growing in it, but this has been going on for 5 years. And again, I don't think you've done what you told this council you were going to do. And by saying that, you know, you were gonna give us a plan. Now, your plan now, and this, we had this first hearing 3 months ago, was that you were gonna remodel. And now then, we're hearing tonight that you're checking on French doors that you can't find, that's not gonna work, that you're gonna put a French door on the inside, and that you're gonna put windows in it. But yet, to do all that, you have to have a building permit,
Yes, sir.
and you don't have it. I couldn't find a building permit issued for this address anywhere, and that's another subject we'll talk about later with you. It's so complicated, you gotta look at everything in the county to find ours. But I just don't think you've done what you told this council you were gonna do.
My initial goal was to clean it up, so by what I was told, neighbors were complaining, because like I said, it's been empty 5 years. Yeah, I've only had it this year, and until the previous meeting, I did not have the right to clean it up. Now, it has been quite a bit of work just trying to clean up the property, and I ain't paying a bush hogger, I'm doing this all by myself. You know, I know a lot of people could throw money at it and just have it done with, but I don't have that ability.
Do you understand that the reason for this, as the attorney said, is that when we make a finding, the finding's gonna let it sit there, which I'm not gonna let it sit there, or we're gonna vote to tear it down and send you the bill. I mean, that's the alternative, that's the extreme alternative. Maybe not sending the bill, but we can lean against the property. So we'll not necessarily send the bill, but, you know, as I stated last Tuesday, I wouldn't wanna live next door to this, and I don't think you would either. And I just want something done with it, but I'm wanting the schedule that you gave us. Show me your plan, your written plan that we asked you to do 3 months ago.
I guess I misunderstood.
Okay, all right, that's all I mean.
I want to do this, but I wasn't told I had to have a permit to clean out the inside mess. And I didn't understand I was supposed to have had that, or I would have gotten it. When I went to get the paperwork to replace that section, that's all I was told I needed to have.
What kind of time frame are you looking at in order to, I guess, make this house happen?
I honestly hadn't considered a set time frame. Once I got it cleaned down, I was going to look at the floor plan, figure out what I could do from there, and then submit the paperwork to rebuild everything. I mean, I'm going to keep the property cleaned up. I was going to finish wrapping it so it wouldn't look like such a mess. I know one of the previous council members stated a coat of paint would do wonders, but that has some kind of pressed board siding, and I'm planning to remove that and put better siding up. So, and I can understand wanting to get the property cleaned up and everything, but I can only do so much at a time, and I have to do what I can afford at a time. My first goal, once I submit the paperwork, will be doing the outside and then slowly doing the inside, but it's just the time I can do it when I can, however I can.
Sounds like shorty you got into something you didn't realize you was getting into.
I knew it'd be a lot of work, but I didn't know I was going to be on a short time frame that I had to get it done within.
We've been giving you time.
I understand, and I'm doing the best I can with it.
I'm Tony's dad. I've been down there and I've helped him a few days myself. What I understand the problem is with this house is that the guy that had it before, somehow his name is still attached to it. We don't know and the year is almost up. We don't know if this guy's gonna come back and retake the house, and then we'll have a problem on getting the money that he's invested on what he's done to it at this point. Now, that's what I understood. One of the biggest holdups has been on this house. It's been up there for 5 years, and I understand that. You can see that he's had some initiative to do something to the house. No one else has done that. Not one person that's had it. Now, how many people have had that house since it's been there? Well, in 4 years, 5 years, if it was a tax sale, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people. He's the 5th person. Is that correct? Does that sound logical? Well,
I don't know if that's correct or not.
all right, it's been sitting there 5 years where it was burned, correct? Someplace here, the city took it over in that 5-year program. We know that there's a guy that had it before Tony had it. And from what I understood, Tony went down and paid the taxes. I believe it was the city
and county.
And then later on, he finds out this guy somehow is still attached to it. The guy that was before Tony.
Mr. Attorney, can you just say, kind of clarify this a little bit more for me for my stupidity, please?
When any owner of any property fails to pay their taxes when they're due, eventually that property will be subject to a sale for delinquent taxes. As I understand it, in this particular piece of property, the owner of the property who owned it, when the property was sold this past year for the 2012 taxes, this gentleman bought the property, and the state law is such that after the sale, where he purchased it is confirmed by the judge, which happened in October of 2016. Then the old owner has the right, this gentleman owns it, but the old owner has the right within 1 year of the date of that confirmation to redeem the property by going in and paying the things that this gentleman has paid. So yes, there is a right of redemption that could be exercised up until, I think, probably about October the 13th or 14th. I don't have that date right.
It's coming up pretty soon. But would
But
you
anyway,
want to put $20,000 in a home that some other guy could come in and take it? I mean, logically
Wouldn't have
speaking.
bought the property.
What?
I wouldn't have bought the property. I mean, that's
Why do y'all sell the property? You want somebody to come in and improve it, correct?
but they've got to do it by the code.
And
it's the
he's not got a
county.
building permit because he's not been building anything. He's been cleaning up the lot.
It's the county that sold it. Rome County, Tennessee, and the Chancellor's Office of that tax sold it. Anybody in America can buy the property knowing the risk.
Yeah.
I used to do it myself.
Yeah, you stated that once before.
And, you know, it's a gamble. It's like rolling the dice.
And you learned from that risk.
Made some money, but
Well,
wouldn't do
all
it
right.
again.
He's
Because
just trying
it's
to
too
get a
much
home.
trouble.
That's all it is.
But I mean, never mind.
I mean, it can go back and forth, but nevertheless, if he had spent $20,000, $30,000 on the home and this guy took it back, we would have had, or he would have had to sue the guy to get the money back. Is that correct?
Bob, when I was informed of the process, if the guy wanted the property back, he'd just pay the taxes and it's his. It would be, by what I was informed by the courthouse when I spoke to him, that it's essentially put in front of a judge who determines if they feel the amount that I spent on the house was worth me getting back. And it's basically their opinion on it. There's no guarantee anything I spend I would receive. And, you know, even if I did get a house loan on this to build it in a month or whatever, what bank would give a loan on a home you don't actually have the deed for?
He ain't got it in his name yet.
I'm
You
doing
can't get a construction loan when you don't have property in your name.
So that's, what you're saying after this October 13th date is the 1 year that the previous owner cannot come back and get it. Correct.
And then
They
at that point,
stated
he'll
it'll
have
be about a month before the title's in my name. However long it takes them to process it.
2 weeks, a month, a day.
What is it, attorney?
Gentleman owns the property. As of the date of confirmation of sale, which is October 13th, 2016, I don't know that, but that's the date that I think it is. He owns the property, subject to the right of redemption. The clerk of master, her process is always to wait until the time for then she issues a deed. But he has an order of the court. Ownership resides with him right now, subject only to a right to renew it, which will be up in a few days.
I'm all for you fixing this house up and living in it, I really am. And I would hope, that, after the 13th is up, and, you get the right of redemption, whoever is done, you get the deed and everything. At that point, are you planning on taking the deed and going to the bank and saying, hey, I've got this house I'm gonna redo, I need X amount of dollars, and start working?
If I've got no choice but to do that in order to fix it up to live in, I would. I was hoping I could do it, I'd get the paperwork, and I didn't know there was a limited time that paper was valid to repair the house. I was hoping I'd be able to apply for that. Once I get it, do the repairs in stages.
Right, well, I think there is a limit on issued building permits, how long you can keep them active. Correct? That's correct. You cannot renew them.
How long is that time?
I want to say it's 1 year.
1 year? You can still renew the building permit after that year?
Mr. Chairman, we can go on forever and ever. I would move that we postpone going to recess, reschedule another hearing for November the 14th, and at that time that he come before this committee again, with in hand, building permit and a written plan of how long it's going to take and what's going to happen before we make our official finding. That'll be our next council meeting, November 14th. And if the redemption day is the 13th, that's Friday.
Well, I'm take for him to give a deed,
Mr. White, please. Mr. White,
By that time,
do you have that motion written down?
No.
So not you. Did you write that down? All right, do I have a second on the motion of Mr. Brown? I'll second. Second, Mr. Childs. Oh,
Could I just recommend you add to that motion that you also come back with a cost estimate? I think that's been one of the things that's been missing up to this point is no qualified, certified estimate of exactly what it's gonna cost for you to bring this house back into code. So I think that would be
I would think that would be part of the plan that would be brought back.
and I think from our standpoint, from the building inspector standpoint, that doesn't need to be something that you put together or that I put together or somebody at Home Depot puts together. It needs to be from a certified contractor.
Mr. Brown, it's your
I
motion.
don't care to do that, but the motion was to bring back the building permit, and in the building permit process, he has to tell how much he's gonna spend for it, and they'll issue the building permit based on his estimate, I think. So that ought to take care of, that. If Mr. Cofer issues him a building permit for $5,000 or $100,000, he'll know if it gets it up to code or not. I mean, this is the same thing that we had happen out at this other house. And they came in and got the building permit, didn't say that, but I don't care to put that in there, but I would assume that it would be part of the building permit.
I think it'd be part of the plan. Mr. Childs. Mr. White.
Yeah. I think you covered it.
Now, at least on the roll.
Just one more statement. Just want to make sure that, I don't want to hear that I didn't understand come the 14th, that you're going to be here with a plan, you're going to have a building permit in hand, and hopefully you're going to be putting in new doors and windows and gutters and putting a new siding on, and it's going to be the nicest house on the block.
I hope it will be, and I'll
Okay.
have all that in the paperwork.
Thank you.
How about the 13th, please, Scott?
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries? Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Motion carries. We'll see you in a month. That being the end of the agenda, recess. Recess. We're adjourned as council.
think that's how they do that, yeah.
Did you like them? You do need to try them. They're good. There's no preservatives. Yeah, that's good. It's good chicken. But, you know, you just have to let me know what you think. Really? Oh, no, no, it's on the timer, okay? So it's on once a night. Well, maybe we just turn it down lower. We'll turn it down lower.
I just didn't know if they had control, is that a corporate thing?
Well, we lock it, and so we set it on a temperature, because if they controlled it, you know, it'd be a person's
Well, it's
preference.
like it's just turned off completely, it's not like it's on 75.
I think it's supposed to be set on 72. So I'll check that.
Yeah, it's on 72. It must have been on 65 because it's freezing. I don't know where about it. That's a good job. They're doing a fine job there. Well, maybe they get the water line. They repair that. I'm from the city, I'm still. 38
We
years.
didn't know what we're talking about. That's exactly.
I think, maybe, I don't know.
That kind of hurt us. Well, when I put it in there. Yeah.
Look at that report at. 20 up to 710, 1 out of 10.
We did that for you.
Let us know exactly what you want. So they said they don't have to pay to buy any payment. It's festive.
They're gonna patch it, it's already in the plan.
Good job. Hey, what's Tony?
The asphalt. We covered all that with you, when Tim and I met with you.
What about that?
We covered every bit of that. We covered every bit of that when we met with you. Okay? Have a good night.
Roy, you know what? I'm just got to go eat. I guess. You ready outside yet? Probably. Don?
Yeah, bud.